Hello and welcome back to My Own Worst Enemy. It is time to start turn number 2 of the Hill of Death, Champion Hill. So let's just jump right in. The board is just as we left it, and I'm going to move the game turn marker. This is the first thing we do in the sequence of play. Move the game turn marker up to turn 2, and I've got my reinforcements there. That's a reminder to put the reinforcements out as they are available now in turn 2, and these are 2 Union reinforcements. I'll let you see these. Looks like they're from McClernand's Corps. 2 artillery units, a 12 and a 6 strength point. The 12 is smoothbore, the 6 is rifled, so that'll give them a little bit extra range there. Now, when you have reinforcements, you take them and set them off board near the entry point of where they will be eligible to come in. For the Union, they're going to be able to come in at hex 1401, 1501, or 1601, so they can come in any of those 3 hexes up there. I just put this one marker to designate where they're going to go. So the way they'll come in is if we get an activation for one of McClernand's divisions or brigades, then we can actually move those onto the game map. They're just, now that they're actually off board, they're still considered as part of those active units, and we can bring them in. And then the next thing we do, we're entering the command decision phase, and that's where we're going to construct this activation draw pile deck again. I still have Pemberton B and Grant B, and the 2 Faga War card and the Friction War cards are out. Those will always go into the activation draw pile, if you recall from the last time. Now I'm going to open up the scenario book back to this Bloody Hill scenario, just as a reminder of what goes into this deck, and also it'll tell us if anything new needs to come into the deck for turn number 2. You'll remember the event cards. Let's start with those again. So let me get this out of the way. So for the event cards, and I'll start with the Union, they will get to select their choice 2 events, and then there will be one put in randomly for a total of 3 event cards that get seeded into this deck. So again, what you want to do is you want to look at the board status and see what 2 events you would like to see come out in turn number 2. So let's do that. And I think for the Unions, they're going to be on the attack here. So I'm going to give them some attack cards. I think I'm going to give them the On to Vicksburg card, which will let them re-roll either the red or white dice or the blue die for when they conduct combat. So I think that might be useful. So let's put that in. And then the other one, I'm going to put in this Fire Combat card that will allow them to up the result 1 column on the cohesion test. So let's put that in. And then I will shuffle the Union event cards around a little bit here, and we will randomly pull one. And let's just grab this one. So now, well, let me probably ought to put these upside down so I can't see what's going in there. And so now there's a total of 3 Union cards in there for events. We'll do the same thing now for the Confederates, but they will only get to choose 1 card from this deck. So I think I'm going to choose this Blind Fury card. So what this will do is let me have the Union player have to take so if you get an XY result, remember that you can choose to take that Y result. This card forces the Union player to not choose the option. So it basically says that the skedaddle result cannot be chosen by the Union player, so that might be useful for the Confederates. So I'm going to put that one in, and now randomly, I'm going to shuffle these up and randomly pick 2 event cards for the Confederates to put into this deck. So we will I'll split the deck somewhere and grab that one. So that's 2, and then we're going to shuffle again, quickly split the deck. 3. So now there are 3 Union and 3 Confederate event cards in the deck. And now we'll want to go back and look at your game turn. It'll tell you which cards you're going to hold over for the entire game. In this case, it tells us that the Grant CIC card and the Pemberton CIC card, B versions, go in for the entire game. And then for the Confederates, it tells us that you're going to get Stevenson's division for the entire game. And again, so I'm going to grab Stevenson's division's command cards. Now there's the 3 orders that are possible. Again, are attack, defend, and maneuver. Again, the maneuver card, I don't know if I really want to put that in. We are under attack here. The only thing I really would like to maneuver at this point is this artillery unit stuck out here by itself, but I don't know if that's a good idea. We do have some reinforcements coming in next turn, so I may want to hold off on maneuvering until then. I think I'm going to just play the defend card, so I'm going to put that into the deck. And then we look back into the game turn deck. So now we're looking at game turn 2. That's all the things that carry over for the entire game from game turn 1 that it told us. Now we go to game turn 2. It says the Union player seeds 1 formation card for McClernand's Corps and 1 formation card for McPherson's Corps. So again, they're already out. This is, I believe, exactly like the last time. So let's do that. Let's pick 1 card from each of these. I'm going to grab McClernand first, and he is the one that has units going all the way down this side, and McPherson is up here. So let's see, what action do we want to have McClernand take with his divisions and brigades? And I don't think it's going to be rocket science because they are on the attack here. So I'm just going to put an attack card from McClernand in. So let's do that. And then for McPherson, same thing. Now, we do have McClernand does have the artillery up here, so I could have played a maneuver there, but I'm not quite ready to do that yet. So McPherson, I think I'm just going to, again, have an attack card for him as well. So another attack card. So we're going to attack those Confederates. And then looking back at game turn number 2, the last thing it says, Union reinforcements. I've already done that. The 12th Division Artillery, 2 units may enter those 3 hexes. So we've already done that. I jumped ahead there, but that's okay. And that is it. We have the all the cards are now in this draw pile that we need for game turn number 2. I will note that the Confederates still have the Fortunes of War token that they can play. Remember, that allows you to re-roll all the dice from any dice throw that they make. And I probably should have used that last time, but we still have it this time. So let's go ahead and shuffle the event deck, the action deck, I should say, for this turn, and we will proceed with the game. Once that is done, and I'll just give it a quick shuffle, make sure that it's nice and randomized here. So again, I like the way that this works. I really like this activation deck. It's you know, there's the chit pull system and then something like this. So if you're a solitaire player playing this by yourself, like I'm doing here, this really adds to the uncertainty and gives you, you know, it's a lot easier to run a solitaire game using a chit pull system or a card draw system like this. So just another friendly aid for us solitaire players to use. All right, and then I'm just going to split this deck right about there. And again, I'm going to put the activation draw pile over here, so we will have that to draw from. All right, and let's see what the first activation card is. So we flip it. Grant B. If you remember last time, we didn't get to play this because there was I think it was one of the Fog of War, the Friction War card that made the Union discard that. So looks like we actually get to play it this time. And so it says that activate 1 division with any order, and again, that's the 3 orders, from McPherson's Corps or the 12th Division only of McClernand's Corps. Now that's interesting because the artillery units that are sitting off board are in McClernand's Corps, so we could actually activate the 12th Division and get those artillery units started towards the line. Who else is in the 12th? Let's take a look and see here. I think all of these two slack units are 12th. We know that this guy's not. What are these? This is the McGinnis. Those are both 12th. That's a 12th. So I think so the 12th actually is pretty good size here. We have 5 units here, and then the 2 that are off board. So that is definitely a possibility that I might want to do. And then again, the other is activate 1 division from McPherson's Corps. Now that would be useful in getting these units closer to the battle, or even getting these units closer up. So what do we want to do? Let's take a look down here. I think there might be artillery with, yeah, so that's a 12 rifled, so strength 12 rifled unit. Now I'm looking because I'm wondering if we could bring that if we could bring that artillery up and take shots at maybe Barton over here, because this is higher ground and this is high ground and this is lower between. And I believe the rules state there's forest there, but I think because it's on a lower elevation, it would simply be an obstruction. Now that wouldn't be so great for combat though, because the rifled unit, let's see, if we're sitting here, 1, 2, 3, I think that's long ranged for rifle. Let's go take a look at that and see. So weapon ranges for rifle, range 3, so 4 is long range. So I guess that would be considered within range. So that's something to consider. if we decide to move up and take a shot across at Barton's brigade over there. Or do I want to activate the 12th here? And I think, let's see, that's 18 strength points. And I'm just looking, we could add artillery with that group, maybe bring those forces forward and then move them in. I think I'm actually going to choose the 12th Division only of McClernand's Corps and activate those units, because we do have more reinforcements coming in next turn, and I would like to be able to even bring those in, or have the opportunities to bring those in if I can. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a maneuver order with the 12th Division. So they're not going to attack, they are going to maneuver. And remember, the maneuver will give them 4 movement points. So let's start with the Strength 6 rifled artillery unit. I think I want to put it with these guys down here. So again, I think that's 18 plus 6 will be right at the stacking limit, so that would be legal to do. When you bring in reinforcements, you count the first hex as movement. So in this case, they're coming into a road. So I'm going to say they were already on the road, meaning it would be a half, 1, then 2, 3, 4. I believe that's clear. It is. So they would just be able to make it. So it would be 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to bring in that artillery unit. I'm not going to move the rest of that stack because the artillery cannot move since it just used all of its movement points. This 12 strength smoothbore now can come in, and 1, 2, 3, 4 to get in here. So let's do that. Now he's with this unit, this infantry unit. And that's 22 strength points there, so they're pretty much almost at their stacking limit as well. Now, I don't want to move anybody else from the 12th, so we were at least able to bring in the artillery units for this action. So that's going to do it for what the Union wanted to do with their action card. Again, we go back to the sequence of play, and basically that's, nobody has any held cards, so we just simply draw another card at this point. So let's do that. We draw another card, and it is McPherson attack. Let's see, that's going to be up here. And we've already had some combat action up here, and I think these guys are shaken still. Let's see. Yes, these are all shaken. And let me just take a look. So we probably want to attack that Lee unit again. We've got the artillery in there, which is down to 10 strength points. And the infantry is down to, looks like 3, 10. So they're each at 10. So it's either the artillery or the infantry, if we choose to go that route. And what do we want to do there? Fire the artillery or have the infantry attack? We could close combat, but I still don't think I want to do that quite yet. I think I'm just going to have the artillery fire at this Lee unit. So that's going to mean we're going to go into combat. So let's do that. So we're starting out at 10 strength points because he is shaken. So let's go over to the combat charts, and I will put the D6 on 10 to show that, which he would, looks like he would have started there anyway if he were full strength, because it's 10 to 12. And then the next thing we do, if you remember, is the ammunition problem check. So let's go back to the dice tower so you can see this. So we roll and we get a 6. That's no effect. We go back. Now the next thing would be to look at our column shifts for this. So they're on the same elevation, so there's no higher ground. Target is mounted. Cavalry, no. Artillery canister. So yes, this is going to push this D6 up a column, because we are firing at 1 hex to the that infantry. And defend order, no. This is an attack order for the Union. This is not long range fire. And then finally, we have no obscured line of sight, but that Confederate infantry is in cover. So that's going to move the D6 back to the 10-12 column. And we've already rolled for ammunition problems, so it's simply going to be a dice roll now. So let's go back to the overview, and I will grab the 4 dice that we will need to roll this. Now the Union they have no cards they can play here. The Confederates still have the Fortunes of War card token, I should say, if they want to try to re-roll these dice for the Union. But let's see. Let's go back to the chart for a second, because I'll put the dice over here too so we can see them. So it was a 52, which is pretty good for the red and white dice. And then for the Union firing, they've got a 3, and then the Confederates rolled a 6, which is not so great for the Union. So the question is, do the Confederates want to force a reroll here? So 52 would put them on the T column, and it looks like that's going to be a -3 result, which is a shaken or skedaddle. They could choose here. Is it worth rerolling for 1 unit? I'm going to say no. I think they're just going to let this stand. They're not going to use their Fortunes of War token. So again, that's a 52. You cross-reference that. It's a T that puts you down here on the T column. They might not have done that right, because for the shaken on that artillery, his cohesion rating is now a 2 and the Confederates are 4. So actually, this is really an 8 for the Confederates. So it's going to be 3 minus 8 is going to give a difference of -5. So yeah, they definitely didn't want to re-roll that. And a -5 puts them on the no effect column. So that was actually a good choice. I'd forgotten about the cohesion rating difference helping the Confederates there even more. And again, that was a difference of 2. And the 2 got added to this 6 for the Confederates. And that's why we ended up with -5. So let's go back out to the main map here, and I'll grab these dice. We'll put those back. And now the Confederates have a chance to return fire and engage in firefights should they choose to do so. And I think they're going to choose to do so. Why not? So they have 9 strength points. Let's go back, and we'll put this D6 on the 9. So they may not do much here, but then again, who knows? It's in the hands of the dice. So we start at 9, and we'll check for ammunition problems first. So let's roll the black D6. So there's a 6 again, so that's no effect. And now we go to our column shifts. So we are not on higher elevation, not mounted cavalry, it's not artillery, and they are not on a defend order. They are not at long range, no obscured line of sight, and I don't believe those units were in cover. They're not, so no modification. And we will simply roll those dice to see how the return fire goes now. All right. So they are now returning fire. And that actually looks horrible for the Confederates. So that's going to put them on the 1-6. Let's go back and take a look at that. So that's going to put them on the 1-6, which is, yeah, that's terrible. And you know what I think they're going to do? I think they might want to actually consider using this now, because there are 3 units in that stack, and it would be nice to inflict some sort of damage on those. Maybe shake them or make them skedaddle. Then again, we do have other units to worry about. I don't know. Do they want to re-roll this? The Union also rolled higher on... Yeah, I think they're going to re-roll it. Let's just re-roll it. So they're going to spend their Fortunes of War token. That's gone, and they're going to roll again. So let's see what they get. Well, that's better. So they rolled a 5 and a 5. So let's put that over here. And a 6 and a 4. So that was much better. So 5 and a 5, that's that's doubles. So we use the row above, and it's shocked now. So that means that the Union cannot return fire. So the firefight will end here. So that is going to put them on the T column for the cohesion test. That was a really good result for the Confederates. So that's going to move this to the T. Now the cohesion is the same. The Confederates have 4. The Union's highest has, I think it has 2. Did I do that right? Actually, the highest was 3, so I don't think that was as good as I thought it was on that first attack. Well, so it's actually the highest cohesion rating, so really it's only 1 should have been added to the last one, and it'll be 1 added here as well. So it's 7 minus 4, puts them on the -3, which is shaken / skedaddle. And you'll recall that slash means that, in this case, the Union player can choose to take either one of those, not both, but either one. So they're here, they can choose a shaken or a skedaddle. Now, they do have a shocked result from this combat, so they can't continue the firefight. There's really no reason not to skedaddle here. So I'm just going to move them back 1. And it was a skedaddle 1, so it's only when they go back. So they're going to come back to here. And that will end the firefight. And let's see. And like I said, I think I got the cohesion ratings wrong on that first exchange, but that's okay, we'll keep going. So that was just the first stack that was here with this activation order, and it's for the entire division, so that was the third that we activated. So we still have these guys back here. These are all third. I believe they're all third. Yeah, they are. And they've got an artillery unit there. So we can have them now take their attack. And I think they may attack that same hex. And it may be we open up artillery fire again. That's a smoothbore with strength 6. The smoothbore is going to be long range. Looking at the chart. Actually, no, it is not. Let's just take a look at it together. So the smoothbore artillery, its effective range is 2. And then long range is 3, 4. So he's actually 2 away. So that would be effective range. So we might have him take another artillery shot there. And the other thing we could do is have him take a shot at this guy, but that would put him at long range. And that's a pretty significant column shift. It's 2 columns to the left at long range. And that starts to become not good for the attacking player. So let's have the artillery unit. I'll grab him. He's only a strength 6 though. Maybe we want to have the infantry fire. So if the infantry fires, it would be long range. We would take the 2 column shift, but we're starting a lot higher than the artillery would. Yeah, let's just do that instead. Let's have the infantry fire. Because I think the fact that they're at 16 strength points, yeah, they're going to take a 2 column shift, but it's going to put them back to where the artillery started. So let's do that instead. So the first thing we're going to do is roll, well, let's see, we've got 16. So I'm going to go over here and mark that we are starting on the 16 column. And then we'll roll for ammunition problems. That's a 3. That is a nothing, no effect. And now we will roll. Let me grab the 4 dice and we will, well, let's see. We have not done our column shift, so let's not roll anything. Let's go back and do that. So we start on the 16 column and let me take a look. No, they're on the same elevation. Not mounted cavalry. There's not artillery firing, they're not defending, and we did say that they are firing at long range because they are infantry, so that's going to be a 2 column shift down to the 10, 12. So they're actually better than artillery would have been. And then it's not obscured line of sight, but those Confederates are in cover, so another column shift down. And now we can roll the dice. So let's see what we get. And it looks like well, that looks pretty good. So there's a 62 and 4 for the blue and 6 for the gray. All right, so 62, that's really good. That's going to put them on the T column of the cohesion test chart. So back down to T. And now let's look at the cohesion ratings again. Let's not forget those and make sure we get those right this time. So it's 4 versus 4. There's no modifications here. So it's simply going to be 4 minus 6 for a -2. And a -2 is a shaken / skedaddle again. So the Confederates now need to choose whether they want to take a shaken result or a skedaddle 1. And I believe they're going to take a skedaddle 1. They don't want to lose their strength points. So they're just going to move this guy back 1. So they've skedaddled back 1 hex. And because of that, there can be no return fire here. So there's no firefight. And that is it for that stack of, that stack of the division. And then we have one guy over here by himself. He could take well, he can take a shot. He could take a shot at this guy. It would be obstructed because the hex is borderline with the woods there, and there's only 1 unit there that can fire. It would be obstructed. It would be at long range. It would be uphill, which I don't think comes into play here. I think you only get a bonus if you're firing down from a higher elevation, which if he gets into a firefight, that's something to consider. Do we want to take return fire from that unit? We might want to do that. We might want to have him fire. So yeah, I think it's just going to be obscured. So he's going to fire. He's got 10 strength points. So I'm going to put this D6 back on 10. Grab these dice and get them out of the way. Go back and take a look. So it's 10. He's firing up at this guy on the hill. So there's woods on this side, clear on this side. That's enough to obstruct the fire, and their cohesion, the highest cohesion, well, it's 1 unit firing and his is 4, and the target hex is 4, so that's going to be equal. So we have to roll for the ammunition problems first. 4 is no ammunition problems. So fire combat advantages C. So firing hex is on higher elevation. No, we're not firing at mounted cavalry. It's not artillery, not a defend order. And he's firing at from 2 away, so it is long range fire. So that's going to take this down to the 6-7 column. It is obscured line of sight, so now he's on the 4-5 column. And the unit, is he in cover? Nope, out in the open. So no modification for that. And we already rolled for ammunition problems. So let's go ahead and roll those dice and see what we get. It doesn't look too good. It looks horrible. So there's a 21. That is really a low dice. And he did roll a 2 compared to the Confederates' 1. So 21 is in, so that's going to put us on the in column, which is negligible. And they were tied on their cohesion ratings, so 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 is no effect. So we go back out. Now, the Confederates can choose to return fire here and start a firefight. Do they want to do that? Well, they would be starting off at 6, firing at long range. They would be firing downhill, though, so that would give them a 1-column shift advantage. I don't think they're going to return fire here. I think we're just going to stop the firefight. So we stop the firefight, and that's the last unit that could activate for the Union with this card. So we will take this card and put it in the discard pile. No one is holding cards, so we go on to the next activation card. It is the Union again. Fire combat. This is that murderous volley card. And it's, of course, after fire combat dice are rolled, you simply increase your cohesion result by 1 column. So they are going to want to hold that card. And hopefully they'll get a chance to use it. And so now we go back. Nobody's holding a card. Well, the Union is, but they just decided to hold it. So they're not going to hold again or play it this time. So we draw another activation card. And this time it's Pemberton B. Activate any 1 brigade from Stevenson, or he's the only one out, so it's going to be Stevenson, with division with any order. So it's going to be a brigade that we activate with any order. Now I want to check something here real quick. So this is Stevenson's division. I remember seeing something about the artillery in the scenario book. Because I'm looking, if I decided to activate, let's say, the Lee Brigade, would I be able to move that artillery unit? So it says Confederate Divisional Artillery. And if you look at this artillery unit, it says Divisional Artillery. Although this was a brigade order from Stevenson's division. So, but let's look at it anyway. It says the 2 artillery units labeled Division Artillery are assigned directly to Stevenson's division and not to a particular brigade. When any of the Stevenson formation activation cards are drawn, these 2 units are treated as their own brigade and can be activated as such. So I'm thinking what that means is we could activate the divisional artillery separately from those other ones. And I think there's probably one in here as well. Yeah. But I don't think we want to do that here. I think what we might want to do is honestly use a maneuver order and get the Lee Brigade back into at least these 3 units, try to get them into more of a stronger position to be in. So maybe get these 2 back together and maybe do something with this guy because he's out in the front here. He's going to get creamed if he stays there. So I think we're going to activate the SD Lee Brigade with a maneuver order. And I am thinking, because do I want to use a defend order instead? Thinking that would allow 1 movement point though, and that's not enough to get them to move around in the woods. It'd have to be 2. But I was thinking with the defend order, that would allow them to fire, but they're not really in position to do that either. So yeah, let's just use a maneuver order here on the Lee Brigade. So I'm going to have this unit move 1, 2 and stay there. This unit's going to move 2. So now they're stacked together. And then we have this guy over here, and I think we're probably going to want to pull him back. Now, I don't think we could put him with these 3. because that's 20 strength points, and the 6 would put him over the 25, so that exceed the stacking limit. Could bring him back into cover, or I could even leave him out there as a slowing down, as a speed bump for all these units coming forward. I don't think he'd last too long, though, as a speed bump. Then again, he is sitting on higher ground here, so it's at least preventing the Union from just running up that hill. I'm going to leave him there. That's really dangerous. And then we have this other Lee unit back here on Champion Hill, but I'm not going to move him. So that's going to be it for Pemberton B. We go now to the held card would be next. Play a card that you're holding. And I'm really going fast through now the sequence of play to speed things up. Really what would happen is you would go to regrouping and all that kind of stuff. But the next thing possible would be for the Union to play a held card. They don't want to do that. And so we go back into the next, we go back to the activation draw pile for the next card to pull. And that card is Harassing Fire. Play immediately. Choose a Union unit within 6 hexes of a Rebel unit and roll a die. Okay, we've seen this before. And this will apply to one Union unit. So let's see, what Union unit do they want to attempt to give a shaken result to? Maybe an artillery unit. That's a 12. He's already, that's a 6. I was going to say maybe an artillery unit to kind of knock down their strength points some, if nothing else. And let's see, I think under here we had, yeah, we've got a 12 strength point artillery unit there. It's smooth bore, but still that 12 strength points is pretty significant. So I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to try to shake that artillery unit. It's going to be a little more difficult. His cohesion rating is a 3, and we're trying to roll. Let's see, what does the card say? If it's greater than the cohesion. So actually, no, this is better. It's perfect. So yeah, we're gonna attempt this on that artillery unit. We want to roll greater than his cohesion rating. So let's grab the dice. And we will roll against his cohesion rating. That's about the worst I could do. So that's a less than the cohesion rating. There is no effect. All right. Well, they tried. So that card is gone. And we draw another. Blind Fury. Again, the Rebels. So it's a hold. Play this card immediately after an XY result applied against a Union unit. Okay, well, this is one we do want to hold. So let's draw another card. Union artillery batteries. Play before fire combat is resolved with a Union artillery unit firing. You may increase its normal long range by 1 hex or apply an additional fire combat advantage. That's kind of nice. I don't think I picked that one, but I think that might have been a random one. That's kind of a nice card to have in there. So now they're holding 2 cards, and back to the held card phase. Of course, nobody wants to play a card here. So the next card is another event card, hold. Open fire, play on any rebel-occupied hex. All units in that hex from the same brigade may issue fire combat. And we might actually want to have this hex fire again, the one we just formed up, because they've got 20 strength points there. They would be firing at long range, but starting in the 20 column, I don't think that's going to hurt them too much. So let's do that. They're going to actually play this right now. They're not going to hold it. And they're going to have this group fire on, who do they want to fire on here? This would be an obstructed shot at this stack. And it would be a clear shot to this stack. Now let's take the shot that's clear, so we don't want to take too many column shifts here. Back to the combat tables. So we're on the 19 plus now for starting, which is excellent. So that's where you want to be. This is why I wanted to stack those units. Let's go ahead and check for ammunition problems. We will roll the black d6. And roll a 6, so that's good. No ammunition problems there for the Confederates. So let's take a look while we're out here. So their cohesion rating, it's 4. And they're also 4, so that's not going to come into play. So they are not on higher elevation, not mounted cavalry, not any of that. It is at long range, so this will cause a 2-column shift. So we go from this 19 plus column to the 13-15 column. It's still not too bad. And we are firing. There's no obstructed line of sight. Were they in cover? Let's go take a look. I don't think so. No, they're not. They're not in cover. All right. Well, let's check. Let me take a glance down here to see if there's any cards that are, yeah, any cards that now the Union would like to play. So this is after fire combat result, but this is, they're not attacking here. I don't think they can play this card. Maybe they can. And this one says play before fire combat is resolved with the Union. That's the artillery one. So they can't play either one of those cards. The Confederates are holding a card that they could play though after the fire has taken place, and this is the one that would force the Union. Let's see, get it where everybody can see. This is the one that would force the Union to not be able to take that skedaddle result should they get it. So let's go ahead and roll these dice. Yikes, that is a horrible roll. All those strength points, and then they roll a 13 and a 3 against a 6 for the Union. So let's go back now and look at what that means. It's not good. So a 13 is about as low as you can do. And unfortunately, that is the end column. Wow, that was not good at all. Their cohesion ratings are tied, so it is 3 minus 6 is a minus 3. It's going to be no effect. So that is horrible. Horrible. Put those back. And so they've fired. Now the Union can choose to return fire here to get into a firefight. So again, they have the smoothbore and they have 16 strength points of infantry. I think they're going to return fire. And why not? Because they have this hold card they could use down here. Well, let's see, they also have this artillery thing. I don't think we want to shoot the artillery. It would simply increase the smoothbore's range, so that's not going to do me good. Let's fire the infantry. And I think I said they had 16, so we're going to start them on the 16 column. So they're starting with 16. All the cohesion ratings are the same. The first thing we do is we're going to roll for ammunition problems. So a 3 is, what was a 3? No effect. And so now we go back down to the column shifts. They are not on higher ground. No, 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 none of this comes into play. Not a defend order. It is long range fire, however, so that's going to take this down to the 10-12 column. And they are firing at Union infantry, they're firing at Confederate infantry that is in cover. So now they're on the 8-9 column. For our final column shifts, let's go back and roll the dice now and see how the Union does with this return fire. And again, they can use this murderous volleys card should they choose to do so. They rolled a lot better, so they've got a 51. We'll put that over here. And they didn't do so good on their cohesion dice, though, so that's a 2 and a 6. All right, so a 51 puts them on the R column. So we're down here on the R column. It is 2 minus 6, no modifiers. That's a minus 4. So that is an NE result. But wait, they do have the Murderous Volleys card, which says, after fire combat dice are rolled, increase the cohesion test result by 1 type. Example from R to T, so it's a column shift. If at least one of the firing Union units has a cohesion rating of 3 or more, and they definitely have that, so let's go back and look at this. So they play that card, they can go from this R to this T, and that would take that no effect, and it would turn it to a shaken slash skedaddle. So I think they're going to do that. So that's going to burn this card. And now they get a shaken slash skedaddle. So with this stack, the Confederate has to choose to take a shaken result or a skedaddle result. And yeah, I think they're going to want to take this skedaddle here. And honestly, it might be used to their advantage. They have to, well, I was going to say I think I could retreat them to here, but is that a valid hex? Let's take a look at the rules real quick. I'm thinking it is, because skedaddle says the distance retreated do not count normal MP cost, so it's just 1 movement. So that's good. They could go uphill. Movement away from the enemy. The retreating unit must increase the distance between itself and the enemy unit that caused the skedaddle result. So if we do go back here, that is legal. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else here. No, nothing that would apply in this case. So they're going to skedaddle. They're going to skedaddle right up that hill and go here. So that will end the firefight. So that's 2 cards now that are into the discard pile. And no reorganization. Now we can play a hold card, but no one has any that they can play. So the next activation card is the Friction of War. So the next card that we draw will be useless. So the next card we draw is the Fog of War card. Apparently I didn't shuffle the deck good enough because I think those 2 were together to begin with, but all right, whatever. So those are out. And let's go back now and draw another. It is McClernand. So here, this is McClernand, but it's one of the ones where we roll a d6 to see if we activate a brigade, 1 through 5, or 6, the entire division. Let me grab the dice. Grab this red d6 and roll. We roll a 2, so it's going to be 1 brigade from McClernand's corps. So that's any of these guys, or I think, yeah, we have some up here as well. So there's artillery and infantry, 18 strength points worth of infantry. So we could activate, are those all the same? No, that's 12th Division artillery, and this is Slack. I don't know why I did that. I probably should have moved him under Slack. But still, it's 18 points worth of infantry if you do take a shot at that Lee unit up there. Could also have, well, nobody here can fire. This is an attack order. And the first thing you do is you fire combat. And these guys are now all out of sight because of the intervening woods. Yeah, it's going to have to be this stack, or this brigade, I should say, because we rolled a 2. And it's only going to be these Slack units. So we're going to activate the Slack brigade and fire at the SD Lee infantry unit that's on the hill. So 18, we're going to put our starting column is 18, the 16-18 column over there. And we will roll for ammunition problems first. That's none, no ammunition problems. And going down the list, higher elevation, they are fire combat advantage. No, they're not on higher elevation, no. Long range, it is long range. We get that 2 column shift down to the 10-12 column. And that Lee unit is not in cover. He's out in the open. So nothing else. We're simply on the 10-12 column. And the Slack brigade is going to fire. And again, the Union rolls high. Yikes if you're the Confederate player. So 6, and there's no cards that the Confederates, no cards that the Confederates can use here. So let's go take a look at what that means. A 51 looks like a T result. So let's come down to the T on the cohesion results. Looking at their cohesion ratings, they're 4, they're all tied. So it's simply a 6 minus 3 is a 3. And a 3 is a DS slash. So this is a rough one. So this is going to cause this unit to either, and this is, remember the slash is the Confederate player gets to choose, either he's going to be disrupted or he's going to have to take a shaken and a skedaddle. So let's see. And again, there's 26, so he can't go back with his other brigade units there if we choose to take the shaken and skedaddle. I don't think I want to take the disrupted there. And the disrupted is, we'll grab one of the markers. If a disrupted, he's going to lose 4 strength points and 2 cohesion on his cohesion rating. Now let's take the skedaddle and the shaken. So he's going to pull back to here. So he's going to be shaken and he's going to have to skedaddle. He is now there. That is it for the Union card here. We go back to, there's no regrouping, no one wants to play a held card, so we draw another activation card. On to Vicksburg. Play after you roll the dice for Union fire combat or close combat. You may re-roll the red and the white or just the blue, so that's a nice card to have if they get a chance to use it. And again, no held cards want to be played here, so we have one more activation card left. And it is Stevenson. defend. And they might be screwed here. I don't think they have, I don't know if they have anything that they can do. Activate 1 brigade. Let's see. I don't think anybody, well, these guys, they're at 20. They'd be firing downhill at that stack. I think the woods are higher firing down. I think the woods would count as an obstruction though. Let's take a quick look. Firing hex is higher elevation. If there are town or wood hexes or any units along the line of sight on a lower elevation, then both firing and target hexes, the line of sight is obscured. So it's going to be obscured. So I think they're going to proceed. It is 20, so I'm going to put the D6 on the 20 column. It's actually the 19 plus column over there. And let's go ahead and roll the ammunition problems first. 6 again, so no ammunition problems. So now they're firing at this stack. Their cohesion rating's 4. I think we said their greatest cohesion rating is 3 in the stack. So let's go look over here now. Get these dice out of the way. Starting on the 19 plus column, we've already checked for ammunition problems. We're on higher elevation, so that is going to move us 1 column up. So this is where you go from the 19 plus to this first asterisk column. If we probably won't stay there though. Target is mounted. No, it's not. Artillery canister. They are firing with a defend order though, so hold on here. We're going to go up to the 2 asterisk column now. That's nice. Now we go back to target hexes at long range. We are infantry shooting at 2, so that's going to be a 2 column shift. Takes us out of the asterisks and puts us back on the 19 plus column. And then now we're down to obscured line of sight. Yep, so now we're down to the 16, 18 column. And I don't think those units were in cover. Let's check. These units are, they are in cover. Interesting, all right. That's going to move this down 1 more column. They were all the way up there in the 2 asterisk column, and now they're back down to 13, 15. But that's our final column shift, so let's go back and roll the dice. And that is a 4, a 2 on the red-white. And a 6, 1, so the Confederates did roll good there for their cohesion dice. So 4, 2, 4, 2 is a T result. So this is going to take us down to the T column on the cohesion test. And we said that their cohesion, what did we say about their cohesion? Let's go back and look. It's 4 against 3, I believe we said. So the Confederates will get a +1 here. So it's really 7 minus 1, so it's 6. And a 6 is going to be, this is even worse than that last one we saw. It's disrupted or shaken skedaddle 2. I don't think they want to take a disrupted here because that would flip those units to their broken side. And if they take a shaken and skedaddle, the shaken's going to flip them to disrupted, but it's not going to be as bad. So yeah, I think they're going to take the shaken skedaddle result. So let's go back and take a look at that. So they're here, and I was saying that if we take the disrupted, then that's going to, well, let's see. What does that do if they're already shaken? I think it takes them to the broken side. I'm saying broken, but I mean battle worn. So let's see. So if they're already disrupted, or already, in this case, they're already shaken. So if a shaken unit receives a disrupted result, flip the counter to its battle-worn side and keep its current shaken disrupted markers. I don't think we want to flip this to its battle-worn side. Let's take a look and see what that would do to, say, like this artillery. Basically, it cuts his strength in half, so that would be bad. Yeah, I think we're going to take the shaken result and the skedaddle 2. So what that's going to do is all these units that already have shaken, it's going to flip that over to its disrupted side. So let's do that. But they're not going to be flipped to their weaker side. So there's that. Let me put that to disrupted. Their battle-worn side. Battle-worn side would not be good. And for the infantry, let's take a look. It's 5-4. It would take them to 2-3. We need to play a defend card on these units and try to get them back up. All right, so that is from the chart, that's the shaken result, but now they've got a skedaddle 2 because it was shaken and skedaddle 2. So we're going to have to move them 2 back. So we're going to go 1, 2. Well, that was brutal for the Union there. And so that is it for this card. So that goes back into the discard pile, and that's going to do it for the activation pile. So that'll take us to regroup, and there's no one to regroup. Looking at the sequence of play, regroup, end activation step. So we don't return to step 3. Well, we do, but no one can play anything because these are all combat related cards that they're holding. So that's going to take us to the held event cards step. And again, we can't do anything. And then finally to the reset step. So that is going to be it for turn number 2. These cards go back into the discard pile. So we will end it here. That was not good for the Union. This stack with the skedaddle and being disrupted, not good for the Union at all. Now we do have, in turn 3, we've got a lot of reinforcements coming in for both sides. We probably need to be a lot more aggressive with the Union than we have been. I need to get these units forward. And I don't know if that means maybe trying to get a lot of maneuver cards in the next hand that we have, or the next activation deck. I would also like to get this stack back up to, stronger fighting strength, because they're way back there in their disrupted side, which is not good. And I still have this Confederate artillery hanging out here that hasn't moved yet. It's getting a little interesting. Yeah, but I do think I need to be a little more aggressive with the Union. I think they're going to have to try to get these guys forward and knock the Confederates off Champion Hill if we can. So I will do a turn 3 because I am interested to see what happens next. And when we come back, turn 3, of course, we will do just what we did for this turn. We'll get the reinforcements out. We'll rebuild our deck. And let's take a quick look at what's going to happen in turn 3 as far as that goes. I think we've got some more, well, we do. We have more units coming in. So there's going to be more of those formation activation cards coming in for different cores. Yeah, so turn 3, it looks like the Union player is going to get to add 2 formation cards for McPherson, which it would be better if it were McClernand, because I can move these a lot more, but it's going to be McPherson. And what else? Then that's going to be for the remainder of the game. Confederate's going to get to start adding Bowen's division, because they're going to enter as reinforcements. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right, that's it. If you enjoyed this, please give the video a like and become a subscriber if you haven't. That is extremely important. You'll get notifications about when these videos come out. And I will see you back here next time.